Now this is rear-wheel drive. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing a 2022 Mercedes-Benz EQS 450 Plus. First and foremost, so a huge shout out and thank you to the Mercedes-Benz of Farmington, Utah for giving me some time with this EQS. Check out their inventory in the description down below. This one is available for sale if you guys are interested. And then on a side note, this is the Mercedes dealership to work with. They are a one price store, so they're going to make your buying experience super easy. And so yeah, check them out. And then on a super side note, link to my car buying guide in the description down below if you want to save time, money the next time you purchase a car. Let's get into the review. So I just want to quickly talk about some performance stats before we get into the walk around here on the EQS. So this is the 450 Plus, like I mentioned before. So it's rear wheel drive. It has a single electric motor powering the rear wheels. That gives it 329 horsepower and then 419 pound-feet of torque. This comes with adaptive air suspension and rear axle steering, just like the regular S-Class. And then we have 350 miles of electric driving range. Now let's go to the front end of the EQS. So first off, you can see these distinct body lines on either side of the hood, but then the rest of the hood is very simple from a design perspective. It's just this like large flat sea of white with this particular car. You can see the Mercedes logo there at the center, and then I love the headlights here. So notice how you've got that accent light that goes all throughout the front of the car, and I think that looks great. By the way, the lights don't actually blink in real life. That's just because the frame rate of the camera versus the lights. Do have projector bulbs for the lights themselves. And then I think the front grille is really cool. So you've got the Mercedes logo there in the center with the camera at the bottom of the logo. And then notice we have a bunch of mini Mercedes logos there to kind of fill the void that is happening there with the front end, because it's all closed off because, again, this is fully electric. Parking sensors here on the front end as well, which is kind of expected. And other than that, seeing this in person, it looks a whole lot better in person than it does in pictures. Now coming on the side here, we've got two 55mm tires wrapped on 20-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you can see the design here with the wheels themselves. Notice how you have the silver that makes it look like the wheel's more open than it actually is, but you can see that black trim that kind of closes things off so that the wheel's a little bit more aerodynamic to help with range. Now, for the life of me, I can't figure out what this is. If you know, let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, I don't know what this is. It's not the charging port, because the charging port's on the passenger side in the rear. So yeah, anyways, you can see here at the mirrors, you've got the two-tone design and then the camera there. And then notice, just like the new S-Class, you've got the door handles that pop out. And then if we take a few steps back, here's our full side view. And you can see just how aerodynamic the EQS is, and that's something that Mercedes really focused on, was making this as aerodynamic as possible to help with improving range. And then I'll quickly show you guys the charging port. So enjoy the back end for a second. So here's a charging port right here. You just press it, and then it elegantly opens up, and that's all. Now here's a key fob. We have our lock, unlock, and then the opening here for the trunk. So just hold that down and it'll open it up. And you can see it's actually a hatchback. Storage space back here is fantastic. Look at these beautiful vacuum lines. Man, that is, I've never seen that before at a dealership. You can see the storage space underneath there as well, which is solid. And yeah, I mean, this is huge, which is great. And then notice here with the metallic plaques on either side. And then when you're all done, all you gotta do is just press that and, well, actually press it. There we go. You gotta make sure you use your finger muscles, unlike me, and then it'll close down. Now let's finish things up here with the rear. So again, you can see just how everything flows here to the back. We do have a little spoiler here on the back end. And then the design of the taillights is kind of like S-Class mixed with kind of like this futuristic light bar appearance. And then notice we got our EQS badge here. And then we got our Mercedes logo there in the center, parking sensors here. And then I love how the trim's blacked out on the bottom to kind of just create a little bit of contrast. But yeah, the big thing with this design-wise is everything is just very sleek. This vehicle literally, like, it's pretty much developed in a wind tunnel, which is cool, and yeah, you can tell. Now let's go over the door panel here in the rear. You can see it's soft touch here at the top, and then you can see the contrasted stitching right there with the leather down below, and then more of the padding right here with all of the wood trim. And then look at the window control right there. one of the speakers for the Burmester sound system. This looks like recycled material, actually, in terms of the feel and everything, because I've reviewed other cars that have a very similar feeling material, which makes sense, right? A lot of EVs will do that to kind of go with the whole recycled theme and all that, which I am all about it because this feels very high quality. Now, you can see here with these seats themselves, notice it's got pillows there for the headrests, which is definitely a cool thing. And then just look at the design here down the rest of the seat, and we'll actually pop in so you can see legroom and headroom as well. I feel bad, I'm running the nice vacuum lines, sorry. Anyways, you can see the vents right here and then the storage space. Now here's the front door panel. You can see again, same thing with the material use all throughout. And then here's the handle itself. And then we do have the adjustments there for the seats. All of our window controls right here. And again with the wood trim, and then another speaker there for the Burmester sound system. If you're wondering, this does have heated and cooled seats for the front, memory seats as well, and you can adjust the passenger side from the driver's seat if you want, which is a cool little flex. Got a Mercedes-Benz logo right there, and then here are the front seats with the headrests, very nicely padded. And you can see down there with the rest of the design of the seat. Here's our pedal layout down below. Light control right here with the parking brake, and then the kind of padding right there, and then you can see the steering wheel is power adjustable. And let's pop in. Now here is the steering wheel for the EQS. You can see really nice with the padding all around and then the stitching there in the center, which matches. And I definitely like the diameter and everything of this steering wheel. Now you can see the paddles there on the back. And then notice we do have adaptive cruise control. We got controls for like the volume, home screen, all that fun stuff. And you can actually just slide your finger on this, which is definitely, you know, a cool luxury feature. Turn signal, stock. And then we've got our column shifter right here, which same exact shifter as what you have on the S-Class actually, but there's a steering wheel. Now here is the gauge cluster for the EQS. Definitely love how the gauge cluster looks with the whole formatting and everything. I think it just looks great from an aesthetic perspective. Now on the left side of the steering wheel, that's how you control things here in the center stack to kind of scroll through them from a menu perspective. Really easy to use overall. And then we do have some different drive modes we can go into. So we have our E mode. Then we have our comfort mode. You can kind of see it pop there off to the side. We have our sport. Then we have our individual as well from a drive mode perspective. Now popping here to the center infotainment system, first off we pop into reverse. We do have a backup camera with trajectory lines, and you can see parking sensors work, which is a big plus. Notice the bird's eye view. And from a camera perspective, I mean, this is covered. You can see it at every single angle of the car. So yeah, and resolution's fantastic too. As for the rest of the infotainment system, first off, response time with the screen is fantastic. Now, I just had an S-Class for a week right before filming this review, so I'm very familiar with this infotainment system. You got like the climate controls down here, and then you've got analog buttons for features that you're going to use all the time, like your drive mode select, for example, or if you want a shortcut to go over vehicle system stuff, you've got that. And so, yeah, overall, one of the best infotainment systems in the car industry just because of how easy it is to use, and it looks great. Now, I quickly want to focus on the drive modes. Listen to the sounds. And then there's like no sound there. But I think it's cool with the sounds that you have when you go into the drive modes. Okay, last thing. We have this EQ button right here. And then you can see that it shows you like charge time and everything. And you can set everything up so that basically the car will tell you what you need to do and when, which, I don't know. I think it's a nice feature with an electric car. Definitely helps out with range anxiety. Anyways, we've got this that covers the cup holder section. You can see the cup holders right here. And then we also have a wireless phone charger there at the front portion. And here's the center console. Definitely tons of storage space in there. And again, I love the material use here on the top. Definitely feels very nice to touch. Notice here again, the wood, and then look at the vent. And then notice how the line flows right there. Again, you've got the vents here at the top and it just all flows together. Definitely one of the most beautiful interiors from a design standpoint, and blows Tesla out of the water. Just kind of put that out there. And then you can see here with the sunroof situation, we got the two sunroofs. Controls for the sunroofs are just right here. You can just slide your finger on it, which is a cool feature. And there you go. Now, if you want the most up-to-date price on this particular EQS, check out the Mercedes-Benz and Farmington's website in the description down below. Let's take it out and see how this thing drives. So let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood. Both the mirrors do have blind spot monitoring. Then throughout the rest of the rear. And there's also a storage cubby down here. I didn't notice that before. That's cool. Let's set off. So setting off in the EQS, and it's so quiet. Again, that's kind of like an EV car thing, but I will say some EVs you'll get quite a bit of like tire noise and road noise and all that. This, on the other hand, so far, yeah, it's just like silent. Such a nice experience. Yeah, I could definitely see this being the future for a luxury brand like Mercedes, because it does give you a nice, again, luxury experience. And again, I just had the S-Class for a week, and so I can tell you right now, just initially setting off in this, same exact experience. This is an electric S-Class, what I'm feeling so far. Now the seats I had in that S-Class were, because that was an S580, so that was kind of like a package above this. You can get an S5, well, you can get an E580 rather, version of this that would have had an interior that was just as nice as that S-Class. So these seats are still very comfortable, but they're not as comfortable as the ones in the 580 S-Class that I just had. Just trying to put that out there. But yeah, other than that, it's such a nice experience. I'm actually curious. I'm going to pop to the home tab here, see if it's got, so you've got heating and everything, ambient lighting. Doesn't look like it has massaging seats though, so that's kind of interesting. Now drive mode, we'll start it in, we'll keep it in comfort for now, and then we'll pop it over into the sport mode in just a minute. So setting off again. I like the little sounds it makes too. Yeah, such a relaxing experience. And just like most EVs, handling's great because the center of gravity is low. I wonder what these paddles actually do. Oh, okay, so the paddles are for the regenerative braking. I was curious on that. Normal, and then no regeneration. So we're actually going to put it on strong. So I'm basically going to be able to do one pedal driving, which is what I prefer when I'm driving an EV, right? That means that you're going to maximize your range. But it also just like, that's how I feel EVs should drive, is when it's in that formatting. Yeah, it's just like the S-Class. It's just as quiet and seamless. But I will say there is a smoothness to this that the S-Class does not have, because this is electric, right? The torque is just instant. The S-Class is very, you know, quick and responsive with that 4-liter V8 that I had. But, you know, you just can't beat electric motors in terms of response. Got it in the sport mode now. Oh, the suspension's so nice in this. Leave it up to Mercedes to make the best version of an electric car. Now this is rear-wheel drive. Listen to that. That is so funny that it sounds like I'm in a video game. Does it do that in every single drive mode? Let's go back to comfort. It's not as aggressive. In the sport mode, it's way more. That's so exciting. I love that. I love how that is. Yeah, it's quick. I mean, even though this is the rear-wheel drive version and it's not the high horsepower version, right? It's not the all-wheel drive version. It's still quick. This is more than enough power. I feel like I'm driving in the future right now. That's what this car gives me a feeling of. I don't get that feeling in Teslas for some reason. Like I think it's just because of the build quality in those. Again, this is Mercedes review, so I'm not trying to spend too much time on that, but that's the question everyone always asks. They're like, oh, how does it compare to Tesla? And I guess that'll help me sum things up here with the EQS. First off, stylistically, this definitely looks better in person than it does in photos and videos. When I saw this in photos and videos, I wasn't so sure about it, but seeing it in person, it actually works. And then from an interior perspective, I mean, it's like an S-Class, right? It really is like an S-Class from an interior perspective. So you don't really have any weird electric car quirks with this. You just have a really nice, comfortable interior. And then from a driving perspective, it's smooth, it's comfortable, it's quiet, it makes cool sounds, right? And yeah, I feel like I'm driving the future with this car. And it's such an interesting experience. But this makes sense for a luxury car to be fully electric like this, because the power delivery is very smooth, and it's just instant when you press on the throttle, which is what you'd want to help smooth things out, right? If you're trying to do luxury car driving, it's quick. And so, yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about the EQS. It's a really good car. I love how it just builds. That's so cool. Yeah, this is, in terms of EV sedans, I think this is my favorite to drive. And this isn't even the high horsepower version. Yeah, good job, Mercedes. That's gonna sum things up for our video on the 2022 Mercedes-Benz EQS 450 Plus. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Mercedes-Benz of Farmington, Utah for giving me some time with this EQS. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see all of you in the next video.